Bill?
Yes, hello, this is Bill Powell from UK. I worked in the telecom industry and did research. So a research engineer always interested in how to do things better or simpler or less money. That's what we do. Then in retirement I was interested in energy and I started to work on environment. How can we stop cutting down so many trees for cooking? So I started to work with Mr. Ben here. And I also realized that many of the children here were growing up very, very poor. And I wondered, how can they live like the women do live in UK? Then I found Flavia, and I've been working with Flavia on ideas to help the women.
All right, thank you so much, Bill. That's very good, thank you. So much to see Mr. Ben Powers in his retirement age is coming to Africa to give a big hand. Thank you so much. The next is Mr. Ben.
Hello viewers, good evening and good morning to other countries, good afternoon to other countries that are at that time zone. My name is Benedicto Onyala, and like the presenter said, I'm an environmentalist. I basically deal in things to do with how we can save our environment by using less fuel in terms of oil or charcoal and other fuels, so that we can minimize or mitigate climate change. That's what my passion is.
Well, I will start with you, Mr. Ben. Thank you so much for that great idea you came up with. You know, in our communities, very many people, we really suffer a lot when it comes to cooking, safe energy. How best have you tackled that? How have you looked into that, into our communities?
Oh, wow, that's a very, very good question, presenter.
Yeah.
We have done a lot of work in communities. When you look at the statistics right now, we lose over 4 million people per year due to what we call indoor air pollution. The smoke that we breathe in when we are cooking is killing the mothers, the children. Many children are dropping out of school because of, going to fetch firewood from long distances. There are very many marriages that are breaking because a man comes back home and there is no food because maybe there was a problem, the firewood was not there, and this lady has not prepared any meal. So there are very many marriages that are broken down due to cooking. Now what we have done is we have gone to those communities, especially the communities that are not affording to pay for bigger stoves. Communities that basically communities that are living below $1 per day.
Mr. Ben, in Fort Portal and Cabroli, basically which communities by name that you're operating in?
We have been in a community called Chivimba.
Yes.
We have been in Karangula. We have been in Kagote.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of them I can't remember, like a number of communities. And in those communities, we have empowered women and the youth on how to construct energy-saving cook stoves that are going to save on the firewood which they will be using. So let's say if someone was for 3 days, and is using the stove, it's killing them so much. Train them to use the firewood which is for 3 days for about a week or more.
What are the materials for construction, those constructed stoves?
For those stoves in communities, like I said, these are communities that are not financially well. So look at materials that are really, really very cheap or even zero cost. And this is clay, grasses, and banana stems which act as molds and then you can have the stove.
Oh,
this stove is what we call a rocket roller stove. It is very efficient.
That's good.
This is about 20%.
That's good. Now, using grass, I really need to attend when you're doing those practicals.
60% savings.
Yeah. For how long can it last?
As long as you're still alive and maintaining it,
sure,
it can last.
That's good.
For a long period of time.
That is very, very good and interesting to you, our viewers. Enviro Life, Mr. Bill, how did you really come up with such an idea? How did it start?
How did I start?
Yeah.
Oh, that's difficult because I think it started before I knew Ben even.
Yeah.
I met Ben at the Forestry College. He was an instructor there, so he knew about the environmental problems there, and he knew some of the answers. So we worked together. But it started much earlier because I am married to a young German. My son is married to a young German girl. Yeah. And her father was also doing environmental research in big industry. Yeah. And he said the key to the future, if it's going to be really sustainable, is we have to work with nature. And you take the fuel from nature. Yeah. And he is a chemical engineer. He gave me ideas, and I went and researched them online. And I thought his ideas are true, but nobody is listening. Yeah. I went to the politics, will they listen? No, they want some short-term idea, they want things which, it's renewable energy, it's fine. Even UK politics, that's how the people react on ideas? Ideas from politicians, there are too many people shouting at them. So they don't have time to work out what is right. Yeah. So I thought I will look at this German man's ideas and see where is the best place for these fuels. And the best place is actually sub-Sahara Africa, where there is a very good climate for growing. Uganda, ideal. And the way it should be done is you cut down a few trees all the time, and you replace the trees, because it is actually the young trees which are taking down the carbon dioxide. The young trees are making the correction, the solution to the problem of climate change. Yes. If you use a wind turbine, a solar panel, they mean you don't have to take any of the normal fuels, but they don't take it down. If you can take it down and you can keep the carbon dioxide on the ground, then you are changing the climate change in the opposite way. And the best places are, like I said, in Africa, where you can grow very fast. It doesn't have to be trees. Yeah. You can even be growing elephant grass, bamboo, many other things, and they grow quicker. So you can start to change the climate back to what it used to be much more quickly than if you say you must grow trees. You must replace your trees, yes, but if you do this also and you get the energy, then you are correcting the problem. Yeah. So I thought this was a great idea. Yeah. And I started working with Isaiah Msigi and sent him to Rwanda, where they had a very interesting project. And we got some stoves from other people who were working in communities here. Awamu, the Awamu stove, I found the man who was making that. We exchanged a lot of ideas. American man, but he started a little factory in Kampala. So this is how it started. Then when lockdown came, Ben said they are not paying me any money. So I said, okay, you make a stove, I pay you for the stove. You make another stove, you make 10 stoves in Kampala. And it was so successful I said, I know, because my brother likes to go to Fort Portal. I've been to Fort Portal as a tourist with him.
Yeah.
Go to Fort Portal, very nice place.
Yes.
Make more stoves.
Yeah.
And that is how he came here.
Thank
Is that
you.
a good enough story?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. B. It's very interesting, when the way you articulating them, very interesting. I want to come to you, Flavia, as a midwife and a health expert. How best have you helped the community with your expertise?
Thank you so much for that question. Well, as we all know the work of a midwife, first of all, the major part is to help mothers deliver their babies safely.
Safe delivery.
Then we also deal with family planning.
Yeah.
We deal with postnatal care, immunization, and the rest.
Yeah.
But in partnership with Bill, as he had already told us, he's interested in helping those communities that are a bit disadvantaged and can't afford some of the things.
Yes.
So in relation to family planning, he came up with an idea of soft sponges. Soft sponges, and there are also those sponges that are used as birth control methods. But we have a specific sponge that is used for menstruation. Yeah. So this sponge acts as pads, but we see that they can be reused. So in the process of reusing, we see that we are able to at least cut costs of spending money each and every month. Yeah. So we came up with this type of sponges that are specifically designed for menstruation. And we see that we taught most of the communities, especially at some of the mothers at the family planning unit at the hospital. Yesterday we were in Kamengo still teaching the community members.
Kamengo village or school?
It was a church.
At the church, okay.
Then I've also taught most of my colleagues and the neighbors, because I actually stay near Buhinga Primary School, so most of those people have benefited from
with the reusable spongy pads. I like that idea in our community. It's very true. Many young girls today and women outside there, they are really suffering because they are expensive. They sell in shops, supermarkets. They are expensive. They cannot even easily be accessed to those people in our local communities. So when that idea comes, I really see it is working. But I don't really understand on what gravity, on what force are you pushing it down, because it is really a need. Or you're going slowly, it takes you time, you arrange, because the people down there really, Flavia, suffering. Many, they have not even gone to school. They miss classes because of periods time. So how have you really tackled that, you and Mr. Bill, since you're partnering together in real life?
Yeah, that is really true. So we see that this is a new thing in the market. We have never, in UK where I met him, we've been having them. But in Uganda here, I rarely see them even in supermarkets. But what we are doing is sensitization, also educating them how we are supposed to use, how to avoid infections. Then in case, actually, the feedback I got from most of the people that are health educated, they're okay with it. Yes. So they asked for more samples. Unfortunately, we are first health educating, then when we pick up the ground, we can bring and start distributing to them. And then we can also teach them the alternative means. In case we can't get this specific one, we can get something that works like it.
That's very good. Someone watching us, I want you to leave your question or your submission onto the topic that we are tackling in regard of what you want to talk about. Last week I was in a program here, and later there are these young girls from Ibanda. They told us, I just asked them, what will be the challenges you young girls you're facing? And a girl told me, hey, for us we have a challenge. When we're in periods, we don't even go to school. We may spend 4 days, even a week at home.
Yes.
So that's a very good product you brought on market. I'm sure it does not contradict with the healthy standards.
Yes, these sponges can be a bit different size dependent on how heavy the flow is at different times in the period. The important thing is when they use them in Europe, they come packed. The manufacturer promises they are hygienic.
Yeah.
Now, if the girl wants to use it again, it is not the sponge which makes it hygienic. It is the user. She must make it hygienic like the manufacturer did.
Yeah.
And this must be taught to keep it very hygienic.
Hygienic.
And somehow we mustn't just say everybody use sponge. Good idea, yes, but there could be some risk. We need a way to make sure that there are leaders, and each one teach one. Each leader teaches another one, teaches another one, teaches another one. Keep this sponge clean, pure, no bugs, and then I think it can be great success. And the same sponge, I believe, can be used for about a year. 12 times.
Oh, that's
12 periods.
Yeah, that's very
sponge.
good. So now, Flavia, for how long have you been in this since you introduced that sponge? But for how long has it been on market or being on at work?
Well, I got the idea about 3 months back.
Oh, 3 months, it's really new.
Yeah, it's new,
really
so
new.
I'm still sensitizing the community on how to use it.
Oh, that's good. To you watching us, our communities all over, you can get this wherever you want it and at any time you want it. At the end, we shall give you the contacts of Flavia and the visitors I have in studio. They're going to help us. I want to go back to you, Mr. Ben.
Yeah.
You really talked about safe energies and why you're doing these, artificial stoves. I think they're not shifting. Once they're static in one position. And I see a challenge in our communities. Many people, they don't have those, is it kitchen?
Kitchens.
They don't have kitchens. Where do you build them? In houses? Outside? You just give them a shed? How do you do it?
Yeah, I think there are about 2 things I will discuss about. One, before I answer the question, some of our listeners and viewers would be wondering why we have stoves environment here and then we're having sex education together in one of the programs. The idea here is much of the things we are doing in these communities, it is the women and the girls who are suffering most.
At risk.
One of the team members I've worked with, Madam Flavia, she has just highlighted to you that some people may not be at school like the girls because of periods. The whole week she's home because of periods. In that very week, she's interacting with the cooking, which is also affecting her. Or in that very week, she's in the forest looking for firewood. And sorts like that. Now, we are centering all these trainings, all these aspects to women in communities because we see these are 2 huge things that we really need to tackle. That's why we're having this kind of program of 2 things at a go. Now, back to your question. Stoves, I know in sub-Saharan Africa or Uganda in Naro, most people know only the 3-stone stove. The 3-stone stove is one of the traditional stoves that all of us were born while seeing and knowing. Amahiga. Yes. You get 3 stones, you put one here, another one here, another one here. You position your saucepan as long as it is not tilting off, and you cook. That's what people know. Now, but there are very many other improved cook stoves which are better than the 3-stone stoves. We have very many varieties. We have from portable to permanent. Now, when we go to communities, we sometimes give them the permanent, especially the communities that are having a house and a kitchen. So we can have a permanent stove there, constructed.
Yes.
But then for communities that, for example, are renting, you're renting, anytime you can transfer. We have the portable one, but good. Yes, you can move with it outside and cook your meal.
Wow.
And then in the evening, you put it back in the house.
Yes.
In case you're moving to another location, you go with it. And it's doing properly very well. Yeah. So that is basically what we're doing.
Does they use charcoal or firewood?
We have stoves that use firewood,
yes,
that use charcoal, that use ethanol, that use pellets,
yes,
that use briquettes. All those are fuels that are used for cooking. However, we most times recommend stoves that use firewood.
Firewood.
Reason being, you see, use of charcoal is not the best. When they are turning wood to charcoal, you lose about 70% of the heat just in the atmosphere. You just lose it
in the process.
In the process of turning wood to charcoal.
Yes.
Then at the end of the day, you have even a small volume that you're now using for cooking. Now, actually, you've seen most people who make charcoal in our local communities.
Yes.
You find he has carried a very big, we call it a kiln. Very big kiln with wood, but after making the charcoal, you find it it's
down.
So where has the rest gone?
Lost heat.
It has been lost. Now, charcoal stoves would not be still the best for us to use, because the more we use them, the more we are encouraging charcoal production, which is also
deforestation.
Yes, which is also contributing to a lot of deforestation.
Yes.
But if we use firewood stoves, it means you're going to use the wood 100%. You use everything. So in our opinion, and in what we promote most firewood stoves. But to the worst, where people sometimes are in a small room, and we still promote the charcoal stoves, but improved charcoal stoves.
Briquettes.
And then those that also use briquettes.
But why briquettes? I have been following them and read about them, and they are expensively sold. Why?
I think you should visit our shop, which is located at Rore Park. You realize they're not very expensive.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not expensive. We have a shop at Rore Park, where we have actually physically most of all the things. We have over 10 types of stores.
All right.
That you can look at.
I'll come there.
And you get to know that really things are existing, and exciting things, which are really good.
So, Mr. Ben, as we are giving training to the community to teach them how to have safe environment and to have clean energy in their homes, at their workplaces, in offices, I'm looking at the cost. Are we selling these charcoal stoves? Are we giving them for free? How is it?
In communities, we have been giving free knowledge to them. Of course, sometimes we have generous people who are also passionate about the environment, who can support us to do work in community. But all the things we've done in community, we've done them at zero cost from them.
That's good.
Okay, but then these other stoves, which are a bit improved, of course,
the portable and the
movable ones, and some of the permanent ones, like the ones for schools. Actually, Mr. Presenter, schools are key contributors to deforestation.
True. They
Schools,
cook every day.
Prisons, those big institutions. If you went to a school, I don't know which is the biggest school in Fort Portal, but if you went to any...
We have Pangases there.
Pangases. Yeah. If you went and asked how many rolls of firewood they use in one term.
One time, since we joined there, way back, they use those logs.
Yes.
Where do they get them?
You find in some of the schools they use about 10 trucks.
10 trucks.
In one term.
In one term.
So in a year, those are about 10 times 3, 30 trucks.
30 trucks.
And each truck, how many trees are those? And how long has the school existed?
And then they teach what is deforestation.
Yeah. So I'm not critiquing them, but my point would be they are better stoves that would reduce that 10 trucks to about 3 in a town.
That brings me to marketing as in very life. How do we do? How do we reach to those targeted marketplace where our business can really work well?
Well, we are lucky that we're in Fort Portal, and we are lucky that we're being viewed on Fort TV, which is so passionate in reclaiming back our environment.
Yes.
How we can reach them is through what we call testimonies from other people. What we call advertisement through Fort TV. And experience is also very key in all these aspects.
So, Mr. Bill, I think as a discussion is going on, we have realized that there is much more need of these products into our communities.
Yes.
However, I would think that our financial muscles to push them down may not work well how we expect to. How are you looking at going deep into the communities and to see our products are going there? How do you look into that?
The cheapest kind of stove built in the house is the Lorena stove, Mr. Ben has just described. And needs only material which cost nothing or nearly nothing. So we think this is a good solution for there. But when you come into the poor people around the towns, then you need the portable stoves, like he said. And this is actually a different economy. By that, these people around the town are thinking about money all the time. Everything they do, they eat, they take a border, all these things are money. So you can start to think about what is the business plan to try to bring in some of these portable, more efficient stoves. And you can then spend a bit more money on the materials to make them. So it's a different problem, and it's actually in some ways a harder problem because the fuel must also be more portable, because they will buy it and bring it to where they are living. Buy it in one part of the town and bring it to the other. This actually is the reason why charcoal is quite popular, because it doesn't weigh so much as wood for the same heat. But all this energy has been lost in making it. So what we need is some types of fuel like pellets, and I believe also what I call wood chips. They are very common in Europe. If a man is working on a machine, working on a tree, it may be a sick tree, or it may be a dead tree, or just a tree which is growing too big. They cut off the branches and maybe the whole tree, depending on the condition, and they feed it into this machine, and it comes out like somebody has been chopping with an axe, but in a bad way, little pieces, little pieces, little pieces. The little pieces of wood chip will dry out very, very quickly. And these pieces of wood chip can set the bigger pieces of wood or bigger pieces of briquette and get the fire going very fast, very hot, in a very small fire. So this is one of the things which I think we need to do, is spend more time. A lot of people are spending a lot of time on the design of the stove. Spend more time on getting the right fuels and getting the market for the fuels, so the people who are living in these areas where they live in the flats, where they might move apartment here, there, and they can get these fuels very conveniently. That's what we need, I think.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Bill, for your good submission. Back to you, Mr. Bill. I want you to have your overview on how best, because majorly our target to young girls, women in schools. schools.
What I would like to talk about there is a little bit about the family. I now realize more and more that the family is quite different in what is expected. The women are expected to do a lot of growing of food, of preparing food, of fetching fuel, to bring babies, so that more babies will bring more fuel and so on. That's the thinking. Now, if you think another way, the babies who grow into children, we want them to be educated so they can live a life which is at least better a life than their mother. Okay?
Yes.
So how many children do you think the mother should have? This is a decision not for the father, this is a decision for the mother.
For the mother.
Exactly. That is why family planning must be available for any mother who wants it, so she, in a way that she can afford to control her own fertility, to have children after she's educated, not before, and have enough children that she can feed and be happy teaching and have money for them to go to school.
And Mr. Bill, and to that, here in Africa and Uganda, basically, it is men that always take decisions, not women. It is men that take decisions. And to that, it is rare to find that a woman saying, me, no, I'm stopping from 3 children or 4. But the husband say, me, I still want. And that will encourage a man to go get another one. And that here in community, it works so much. Really, will women take decisions? The decisions taken by both. How best can we handle that?
How can we? Well, I'm not an African man, but for me, I've been married 58 years, okay? And I said we always share decisions.
Yeah.
But I said the decisions are not the same. The important decision, shall we buy a new car? Shall we move to a better house? What shall we do? These are big decisions. And my wife says, you take all the big decisions. And I say, you take all the small decisions. Now there's a big decision about once every 5 years, maybe. How many decisions every day does she take?
Many, yeah.
Many.
Many.
10, 20 small decisions about many things to do with presents for her friends and my friends. She looks after my friends better than I look after them.
Yeah, true.
So this is a partnership. And also with the money, there are 3 monies. Her money, the money we use for together, and the money which in the wedding service I promise to share. So we have 3 kinds of money.
That's
new. Her money, the relationship money, and the money which also she shares because it's mine, but it's also hers. And so we have to work together with these 3 kinds of money. All those monies are equally important, because if I get cross and say, I don't want you here, you must go somewhere else, then she has her own money, she can decide if she's going. And this happens with some families, especially if there's drugs and so on, and alcohol and too much. And and it might sometimes be the woman who is the problem with the drugs.
Well, thank you so much, Bill. You're encouraging that family planning should be considered to avoid many challenges. We are coming to the conclusion of our program, but I want you, Flavia, as we conclude, what do you have to say to our community? Because the program is still new and we need to go down to the community, we'll reach them. What words or message of hope are you giving to our viewers that are watching us in conclusion?
Well, in conclusion, As Bill had told us earlier, that we are going to do small things but for a bigger impact.
Yeah.
So we see that when we use these sponges and we are able to reuse them, it will help us save a lot of money, and it is even easier to use. So we are going to continue with the sensitization, health education, and when people are willing to take up, already I know they are willing because the feedback I've got from most of them, they are okay with it. So in the process, we are going to introduce them and give out samples. But once they have got samples, we shall still teach them on how they can make the locally made at home, and they can use it.
All right, thank you so much. Besides teaching them and use their locally made, shall you be selling to them what you have done, the products from US, or you shall be selling?
No, we shall not sell.
That is free.
Just give out samples and help educate them on how to
make them.
Sample, yeah.
Thank you so much, Flavia, the midwife from BUSINGE Referral Hospital. I want to come to you, Mr. Ben. Someone asked the question, how much is that portable stove?
Oh, the portable stoves we have from various prices.
Yes.
All out from 15,000.
Oh.
Up to for prices like 300,000.
Yeah.
There are many. What you can do is you can come to our office at Lorry Park. We're upstairs. I don't remember the lock number, but we can have a lot of interactions about the type of stove you would need to have for your home, and basing on the cost you've come with.
Mr. Bill Powers, your last message of hope to our viewers.
Well, I hope for Africa that Africa is a young continent, and Africa needs a lot of capital. So for all these things, the people need money to buy it. And I hope that by working together, and not only expecting the rich nations to give the money, that we can find good ways that, like China, the population was growing too fast. After the war, the emperor in Japan had said, you must make babies to make more soldiers for the war. Now, in Japan, no rule that there must be few children. They have very few children. Why? Because the women have good opportunity to have children when they want, to have good jobs when they want. And this is what Africa needs to get to.
All right. Thank you so much, our dear viewers, and my team from Enviro Life Organization. They encourage and empower young girls and women to have safe sex education, and they teach them to take them through all that in line with their health. I want to appreciate you and thank you, Mr. Ben, for the good work you're doing as an environmentalist in this community, and to go down to communities to teach them how to do and to go well with what they're doing with safe energies in their homes. To you, Mr. Bill, I want to appreciate you and to thank you so much for finding time to love Africa, Uganda, and Fort Portal. I want to thank you for the kind, good relationship that you have with Mr. Ben and Flavia. I trust these people, the way they've been talking, a good work will be done in our community, and our community will feel these all projects that are coming on board. Me, Godfrey Businge, and Ford TV, stay entertained.
I hope that you will be the flag for Africa in these things. Not just for Fort Portal, for Africa.
Africa. Wow, Bill has promoted us now. We are Africa. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good time. We love you. A good evening.